Okay, we're back in the woodwork side of the shop for a change today. We're kind of knocking out a couple of little projects we had. Started out with a couple of hooks. They turned out pretty nice. They're going to go on the wall. They're designed to hold up like a gun, something like that. So we turned those out actually on the CNC machine, so they turned out pretty decent. Let's see, we've got a cutting board that's being glued up over here. Some nice dark walnut there. So that should make a nice looking little cutting board on that when I get done. That's for the wife. And the main project today is going to be checkerboard. So we're going to go ahead and see what kind of wood we've got. I found some dark wood and some light wood, and I don't even know what this wood is actually. It's rough cut. Found it sitting under this bench over here. We're going to see what that does. Going to have to plane it down. I've got some old redwood come off of an old door. It looks pretty rough also, but I think we can make that work because it turns out pretty dark. So we're going to go ahead and run all this through the planer, see if we can clean some of it up, and we'll let you see what it looks like for getting the checkerboard started on. So we'll check back with you in just a little bit. All right, we've been planing and trying to find something here that'll work. I think I like these two boards here for my darks, and that looks pretty good for my lights. I had the other board here that I was trying to do, but really it's got so many knots and stuff into it, so I may have to cut that into something else. Got one little spare piece here that don't look real bad if I need that. It's going to be thinner. So I think what I need to do next is probably cut these somewhat length. Now it's going to be, each of my squares are going to be approximately 2 1/4 inches square. So I want to cut all these down to 2 1/4. And if I do that, there's 8 squares across there, so there'll be 4 dark and 4 light pieces. And that's going to give me about 18 inches long. I want to go a little bit beyond that, I think. So I'm probably going to go ahead and cut these 20 inches long, and then we'll send them all through there because there is a difference in thickness, and plane them all to the same thickness once we get all our pieces laid out. And this will be enough to do 2 boards. I think that's what we're going to go with for now. So we're going to go ahead and run these through table saw and get them cut to 2 1/4 and about 20 inches long. Okay, I've cut all these to length, about what I want. Yes, one's a little longer than others. That's all right. The white ones I found out, they're just long enough to get them out of those pieces I cut. So they're just a little over 18.5 inches long, which should be about 18 anyway. It's 18.5 by the time I get done. So that'll be fine. I'm going to have to make sure when I glue these up that they're all perfectly in line though, because I do need those to be good. The other ones will be long enough that when I send them through the planer, it will maybe keep some of the snipe and whatnot out of them. So we'll do that. We got enough here actually made up to do 3 boards. So what we'll do is go ahead and start gluing all these together, make them look pretty as we can, and see what happens when we get them all glued. It's going to take a little while. I don't have enough clamps to do all of them at once. So we'll glue up whatever I can get enough clamps for, and then go from there. Okay, we got those glued up, and I found enough clamps that we were able to do all 3 of them. This one here, I don't like these clamps too well. They kind of work, but those are, I think, Harbor Freight or something. Not near as good as my Jorgensen's or the other parallel clamps I've got here. I much prefer these, Bessie's and Jorgensen's. But they'll work, I guess. We got them glued up. It's looking good, I think. We'll let it go from there. Let her glue dry, and tomorrow we'll cut them on down. Start all over. Okay, we've got them all out of the clamps, and so we're going to go ahead and just run them through the planer, get them all smoothed back down, because like I say, they're different heights, as you can see here, kind of. So we'll go ahead and get them all smoothed down, get it into what we can use, and we'll start cutting up the other side. Okay, we've got those all planed down, and now we're just going to go ahead. We've set up on my sled. I'm going to do it on that. I've set this stop up so that it is the same, the 2 1/4 inches in. So we'll just make us a little checkerboard pattern here and cut it on out. We should be able to make that work. So let's go ahead and cut this up and see how she looks. Okay, I've got them all cut into pieces. They're all in strips. And then what I've got to do is just simply take them here. As I take them off the pile, we set them back in place. And every other one, we're going to have to swing around and set it back in place that way. And I'm going to have to, there we go. Just like so. And then we'll just go back through the same thing we did before, making sure that all our little corners lined up. And then we'll glue her up and we'll have us a checkerboard. Okay, and just like that, we've got 3 checkerboards glued up, and we're going to call this good for tonight. We'll let these all dry up, and then we'll be back tomorrow or whenever I get a chance to get back out here. We'll go ahead and take them out of the clamps and sand them down, and we'll have some checkerboards going. So that's it for tonight. We'll be back in a flash. Okay, and just like that, it's the next day, and we've got them all out of the clamps. I've run them back through the planer again to get them smoothed off, so we'll do some sanding on it, at least on the one side. They're a little bit thin with this because of the wood I had to use, and I was planning on making them a little bit thicker, so we're going to go ahead and put a backing on them, a plywood backing, just to protect it a little bit better, make sure they don't come apart, split apart or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and find us some, I think just some 1/4 inch plywood, and then we're going to probably build some sort of a framework around it just to make it look a little bit better. But right here, we're going to go ahead and get some plywood and see if we can cut them about this size and see how we make out with that. Okay, I've got my luan all cut, just some 1/4 inch plywood. Like I say, it's just going to give it a little bit more rigidity. And what I'm going to do is just glue it. And we'll just take this, flop it on over onto it. And then we're going to take some boards and clamp them all down. I'll show you how to do it. I can do all 3 of them, and we're just going to compress them all down. So shouldn't be a problem. Let me go ahead and just spread some glue around on this one and get us started. Okay, we're all glued up, clamped down. Just got plywood on top of that, and some 2x4s on top of that. I think that'll probably do fine. I didn't put a lot of pressure on either end of this just because I don't want these to warp, but I think with the plywood and the 2x4s like that, it shouldn't take a whole lot of pressure and should give it pretty even all the way around it. So we're going to give that a shot, and we'll let this one go ahead and dry for the day, and we'll come on back tomorrow and start on the next stuff. Okay, we've got the all out of the clamps. We're ready to go ahead. What we're going to do is just take a flush bit router and flop this over, make us a little bit of a mess, and route this out. Okay, I've got these 3 checkerboards all pretty well in line. You could actually play them just like they are. I sand a little bit around the edges, just get them smoothed up. I don't want to leave them like that. Got a couple different plans for these. But like I say, we could just put a little finish on that, call that close enough. I did give this, like I say, thinner wood, saves me a little bit, and I had some that was thinner, so that's why we backed it up with the plywood. I think that makes it a little bit stronger. So we're going to go ahead though and put some trim pieces around that and see if we can't doctor that up a little bit more, see if we can make it look a little fancier. So that's what we're going to start on next. All right, so what I've kind of come up with on this one here, this is just going to get a frame around it. So I've just cut up a couple of 1/4 inch strips of the white and a couple of the small darker woods. And we're going to glue these together and then cut this as a 45 on each corner and outline the board with it. And that's going to work on that. So I'm going to work on just gluing these up and getting them as one piece, because it's easier to cut it and put it all together as one than it is to do it as two. So we'll go ahead and glue those up. Okay, so I've got those glued up, and to save time, I just stacked them all on top of each other and just clamped them straight to the bench. So we'll let those go ahead and dry for a little while, and then they'll be ready to cut and put around this one. And I think we're going to do a little something different with the other two boards, so we'll go ahead and start designing that. Not sure just what we're going to end up with yet. So hold on, we'll see what comes up next. Okay, looks like the plan is maybe it's a little bit wider. We got 3 of them all glued up. Can't wait to see what it looks like when I'm done. Anyways, we're going to see what happens after this. Stand by. Whoops, the gluing's going to happen. And we'll be back in a flash to undo this. See you in a little bit. Okay, I've gone ahead and got them off the clamps, and we've just got them simply glued up. And what we're going to do is we've cut them all to length. We're just going to put the border around them like this and glue them on there. Clamp it down, and we'll be ready on the first one. So we'll go ahead and clamp that one up. Okay, we've got the base all glued up around it. It's time to take the clamps off and let's smooth her out and see what she looks like. This one here is about done, really. Let's see how we're looking on it. Okay, number 1 checkerboard chessboard is done, sanded, smoothed off. It's got it complete. Even got the workshop logo on the back of it, so we'll remember it. I guess we probably should put it the right way up so you can actually see it. Yeah. We'll CNC work on that one. Anyways, we'll go ahead and put a finish on this one. And we got 2 more of them sitting here ready to go, so we'll see what we do with those. We want to make them just a little bit different from each other, so let's see what we end up with. We'll keep on rolling. Be back with you in a little bit. Okay, so with every good checkerboard, we need checkers. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and drawn this up on the old CNC, catted it out, and it looks like we might have some checkers there. And what I've done is taken the piece of dark walnut. That's what I'll be using to do it. And we're going to simply glue this to the bench with a little bit of super glue. I don't know, we'll show you how I do that. It's really about the easiest way, I think, to get it set down and held in place. So let's see if I can set this up, show you what I'm doing. I think that'll probably catch us. So what I've got is I've just put some painter's tape on the bench and on the back side of my piece. So we take some CA glue, if I can get the cover back off of it. Boy, that one's on tight. Okay, hold on a minute, gotta get a pair of pliers. Okay, I'm back now. What we got, my tube is a little bit messed up here, but anyways, we'll go ahead and just put a little line of CA glue, hopefully on here. We'll put that down through there, and then normally I'll take that and just smooth it out a little bit, just so I have a little layer on there. And then we'll simply take this accelerant and you spray it. And we'll set that right there in the corner where it belongs. Push it down, hold it for just a second. And that's all that'll take, and that'll hold that right in place while I go ahead and run the program and carve this out. So that's what we do with that. Okay, toolpath number 1 tool on that set is done. We'll go ahead now. We've changed it. All right, first half of the checkers are done. We're going to go ahead, and then after we've got it this far, we'll go ahead. Let's see here. Just get that little bit of stuff out of the thing. We'll have to maybe pick a couple little pieces out, but it's pretty much cleaned up. And then to get it off of there, we'll go ahead and we'll just kind of come in here and bust it loose. Take that on up, and looks like we did a pretty good job with our depth, because it ate through that piece of tape and did not even touch the bottom piece of tape. So we were pretty darn close on that. So we'll bust these apart, and we'll go ahead and get started on the other one. Should be all we need on that. So they look pretty cool, I think. Okay, I did take a couple days off on the checkerboards, got a little bit busy, so we've got these done. They're turned upside down right now, and I'm going to put drawers in from both sides so we can add that to it. So we've just taken a piece of wood, and I'm going to set that right in there. We've got these to the length that I think I need, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut up another piece of wood, and we'll put that right down through the center here, and that'll divide the two halves of the board so I can have two drawers coming together. That'll give us our strength there, and then we'll glue everything down to the other base, and should be good and solid. So I'm gonna go ahead now and get these cut out. I might even run a dado through this thing so it sets in there, makes that a little bit stronger, just to make sure it holds together. And then we're also going to have to set a bottom in this to hold the drawer, so I'll probably go ahead and see if I can rabbet this thing out to allow for a piece of plywood on the top of this. So I think we'll probably end up starting with that, get it figured out, and then we'll go from there. So let's see how she looks when I get going on it. Okay, as you can see, we've done this. We've taken these and dadoed those out. We've got our board to fit into that. Also got this rabbeted out to be able to handle a piece of plywood that'll go into that. And we'll put all these back together, and then we'll make our two drawers to fit within this area. So that's what we've got so far. We'll go ahead and kind of get everything dry fit together, cut our plywood up next to fit on top of that, and then we'll build our drawers. Okay, so what we've got now is we've gone ahead and cut these, and they will fit right there, nice and tight. We don't want to glue those down quite yet. We've got to figure out what our drawer height and all is going to be. So we've got to look at this, and I'm going to have another piece of glue on the bottom of our drawers. What we'll do is, these will be our side pieces. We'll cut those to size, so I'm just going to lay this on the bottom, and then we're going to take this one and set it on the top side, and that's actually the amount of distance I've got to work with. So we'll draw us a pencil line here, and that'll get us close to where we need to be. We're going to cut it on the far side of that. Whoops, there. Set it back up there a minute. We'll do that. No sense of marking too much. We'll do that, and so we'll now know that this is the dimension that we have to work with our drawer. And well, like I say, we're going to cut it on this side of the line so that we have just a little bit of space so that the drawer glides in and out easily. So we'll go ahead and cut these strips up. We're going to need several of them for both sets of drawers. So we'll go ahead and see if we can make all those work. Okay, so what we've got is we've gone ahead, I've cut these to length. We've clamped this together to kind of give it a little bit of slack in there. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and calculate how long we want these center pieces to be. And all we're going to do is make sure that it's going to fit all the way in that drawer. And we have to have the face out here. So we want it to be a little bit short. We don't need it to be right tied up to there, I don't believe. So we're just going to stick the front and the back there. We know that's good. And it looks like we're about 8 inches deep in that drawer. So it probably will go 7 3/4, something like that. Just give us a little bit of free space in the back. So we'll cut all the rest of the side pieces, hit that amount, and that should hold us together there. So 7 3/4. We'll cut those up. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put together a drawer here. I've gone ahead and we've got all our pieces cut. Lay them out a little bit. We've got a staple gun here. We're going to staple most of this together with a little bit of glue assist. So we should be good. There's the bottom of our panel. I've made sure that this is square. It's a little oversized of the actual drawer, so we'll flush trim that on the other sides, but we'll line 2 edges up so that we make sure our drawer is square. So what we're going to try to start out with is we'll just put a little bit of glue on the ends of each of these. I've already sanded the insides of these so that we'll have a nice surface. It's a lot easier to sand all this before you put it together Then afterwards, the outside edge you can get, but that inside edge you want to make sure is sanded up. So we'll go ahead and put a little glue on here. Everything goes perfectly. Clamp it down. Good now. Sure it lines up perfectly. And then when we put our square on this, we should be good. And it's really close. We're going to have to bend it a little bit around. So we'll go ahead and put a little bit of glue on that, and we'll staple all of this down and staple it together. Pull that on here. Inside, that's part you can do backwards. All right, now we know that this is square. We're going to start at this corner, and we're going to lay it right on there as square as we can. And we can see it's off a little bit, so we'll go ahead and we're going to go ahead and just snap this one down a little bit. That. Now we need to loosen these clamps up just enough to let it go square. There we go. And we can nail that one down. And that's all we do. Continue on around. We'll finish stapling our wraps. Okay, once I got that nailed in there, it holds this pretty good, so then we can come around here. We're just going to go ahead and nail this together also to back up the glue a little bit. A couple of staples in each end. Keeps everything squared up. All right, like I say, we'll let that dry. And, go down this side. We'll let this all dry up. We just simply run the flush trim around it, a little bit of sanding, and it'll be ready for the front face on it. Because we'll add another front face on this. It'll ride in there. So I just got the 3 drawers to go. So we'll keep working them. Okay, once we got all these glued up and nailed up, like I say, we just, it's always easier to leave those a little bit big and take yourself a little flush trim outer bit. And that'll do it. We'll just run a little sandpaper over it and they should fit right in there nice and easy now. So the drawer's basically there. We'll have to work on a little front piece and some sanding. Okay, we've got the drawers going here. What I need to do next, this drawer's going to be sitting in there. Of course, remember it's upside down right at the moment. So I've cut some boards and I want them to be just a little bit less than the height of that so it fits tight in there. This will be from this point down to here. So that'll stop it, and then we'll attach that right to the face. And then that should do. Pretty much stay with that right there flush, and then that'll go up into there. Should work just right. So we're going to go ahead and after we've cut those, then what I want to do is take these and put a little something on it for decoration. So I've set my saw up over here, and I've just put a little bit of an angle on that. I don't know, it's about I don't know, 12 degrees or so. And I just kind of looked at it and winged it. But we can go ahead and fire it up. I'll show you how I put a little angle to it. Okay, so what I've got here is I want to glue these down. I've got it all set up, ready to go. And in order to do this, I was going to set up a little dowel jig here because I want to put some little dowels in here just to make sure it don't go anywhere. So we've got some little dowels. Got a little drill bit, same size, so it'll work good, make it tight. And then I've taken this and just made it the same length as that. And I want that to set right there. So we lined it up we've drilled 2 holes right where I want them. Now I can take the drill and drill into this, being careful not to go too far because I don't want to go into all the way through it. And I could mark it and make sure that I don't, but I have pretty good confidence in my drill. Okay, so we have that. Now we need to do is put that same mark here, and I know right where those are going to end up. So I can flop this over, and we line that up just the same as what we had it on the other one. Lining up the ends right where it would be, and these I can drill on down in. And you want to make sure these go plenty far because you don't want to bottom out on your dowel when you go to do it. So. And that's got those, knock the dust back out of them. And then you end up like the other side over here that I've already done. I've got the 2 dowels in place. We'll go ahead and glue those and stick them down into these holes, and then we'll set this right on top of them, and that'll keep them from going anywhere, I think. So, and of course we'll glue all this underneath it. So we're going to go ahead and glue that and get it set in place, and be ready to put the plywood base on it, and then we'll start being able to slide our drawers in. So we're getting closer and closer. Okay, we've got those all glued up and clamped down. I think that should do pretty good with it. I don't know. Went together pretty nice. The dowels lined up, glues down. We clamped the stickings out of them pretty good. Could always use a couple more clamps. I don't like these little squeeze clamps near as well for a permanent glue up, but I think it'll do. It was pretty good fit to start with, so we're going to let it go with that. And I'm going to go ahead and I've got the drawers over there and over there. We're going to go ahead and sand on those. So that's the boring part. We'll get done with that, and we'll come back when all this stuff is dry. All right, we're wrapping up another day here in the shop. We've got, of course, the one checkerboard. It's just a regular board, and we've got these other ones pretty well getting really close to done. We've got the drawers all put together. We've got the faces built. The next big thing's going to be finding some knob for the front of it. So we'll get those, and that'll put these doors together. Some final sanding, and then a finish coat, and I think we'll have some checkerboard. So that's about it for the project, but we'll show you what it looks like when we get a coat finish on it. So we're getting close. Okay, for progress, we're going to go ahead and show you what we've got. We've got coats of finishes on them. We're letting them dry over here, finishing off. We've put a couple of coats of polyurethane in them. And over on the other side, we're working on the drawers themselves. So we've got them sanded down, ready to go. We've got all the pieces together. So what we've got now is I've got 2 of them together, and all I've simply done is after I sand them, we had already pre-drilled all these holes so they line up. Got all my drawer faces done. So we'll set that on there. We grab us a couple screws depending on your handles, and we'll screw those down. I'm also putting a little touch of glue across this to make sure that they don't move anywhere. So we'll go ahead and glue those last couple down, get our handles on there, and I think we're getting really close to calling this thing a good project. So we'll put those together, and we'll lay them out and let you see how they all look at the end. Okay, we're getting close now. We've got the drawers all put back together. We got the finish put on them. The drawers are all good. I did take, once we got that done, we went ahead and put some Johnson's paste wax on there. That works really good for wood, and it makes this wood on wood slide a lot easier. So now the doors will not bind up as you're going in and out with them. Then we're also, get that done, we're going to go ahead and we're putting some feet on the bottom of these just to kind of give it a little bit of a standoff. So I've got these little rubber feet. We're coming in about a little bit on each of the corners to stay in the path, and we want to stay on that. We don't want to go through the little 1/4 inch plywood. We'll end up not having anything to screw into really much, and it will interfere with our drawers. So we do want to keep there. You just get these little feet, I don't know, it was 100 of them or something, 50, 100 for, I don't know, 10 or 15 bucks, something like that. Pretty easy to find if you do the Amazon thing. And like I say, they come with the screws and everything, so I'm gonna go ahead and set these back about 3/4 of an inch from the end here. I think looks pretty good, and that'll keep them all even. And we just screw them on down. Like that, and we'll finish those 3 off and we'll be in good shape. And we're closing in. Okay, and that's got us sets of checkerboard. So we've got 2 of them that have the doors, 1 on each side. I think that looks pretty good. That one there, I think, turned out pretty decent. And then we have the one without the drawers and all underneath it. And we also had the checkers that we had made for it. So they're all finished off. And I think that's going to pretty well complete this project. I think it turned out all right. Fair amount of work put into them. So we'll go see what they do, see if the customer wants his. And I don't know. Like I say, we got one for a customer. I don't know which one he'll want. One for my son. I figure he wants one with a drawer in it. And we'll go from there, see what happens with them. But hope this was a good little project to follow along. I know it's probably a fairly long video by the time we get it all edited out. But hey, some of them are that way. So we appreciate you checking it out. Hit that little like and subscribe if you like these kind of projects. We'd be more than happy to share some more with you if you'll join in, and we'll go to the next one, I think. Have a good one. We appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you at the next video.